I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So let's begin. Okay, so you guys have a very special significance, bringing the big beat into the mainstream. When
hmm
did you first realize that you were a part of this big movement?
Um, well, we never felt particularly part of any movement. We were just really concerned with our own sound and hoping that it was kind of unique. Um, we had influences from acid house and hip hop, and the thing we were trying to do is kind of combine those two influences in our early records. But since then, we just I suppose when the first record that we put out was Songs of Siren in 1992, and it made quite an impact. It was quite a different sounding record, and I think that gave us the confidence to kind of feel that our sound had a place to exist. So yeah, but really early on, really, the first music we put out seemed to excite people. So that was kind of that, really.
Yeah, but you didn't really care for being associated with the movement. You just focused on building, doing your own thing.
Yeah, it's just like it's been enjoyable to create a sound and find places for it to go. We've enjoyed like the move around the world of where our music has made sense. Very early on we had our records were very big in Florida in America, and so we used to go there and play, and there was a kind of scene that grew up around music that sounded like ours, and it moved through Europe, and so yeah, it's been like interesting seeing where the music kind of finds a place to be.
And your last album, Born in the Echoes, was received pretty well, and some people even call it a comeback album. Do
hmm
you see it this way, or is it just another body of work, part of your consecutive work?
Uh, I suppose in the sense that it was back to working with kind of a lot of vocalists and maybe there were echoes of the older albums, but I don't know. A comeback suggests that you went away. In the last album we had, Further, we still played at Glastonbury and big festivals. It was just a kind of a different sound. There were no guest vocalists, and it was kind of a lower key album based around the visual representation. But I think maybe Born Echoes connected, but we never really, we never really felt that we went away. So for a comeback, you have to go away. It's been fairly consistent, but I think maybe this album reached people, maybe people who haven't bought our records for a while, haven't been to see us play, but there's still been a lot of people who've been doing that.
Speaking of vocalists, you had quite a diverse list on that album. You had Q-Tip, St. Vincent, Beck, to name a few. What made you want to work with each one of them?
Well, just that they've got something to say. Both our music is, like based around sound and the impact of drums and synthesizer and samples, and yet Tom and I we love words. We love the lyrical input. So all those people, they deliver words, melody and rhythmic words that are powerful. In the album, Beck's lyrics, co-written with Tom, really emotional and affecting. We're looking for a kind of with all the different vocalists, and they live together on this album like a broad kind of spectrum of emotional tones and lyrical ideas. So it's just people that kind of suggest themselves. It's like a jigsaw. You use one vocalist and then something else seems to complement or, work against, whatever evolves in that process.
And of course, this was not your first collaboration with Q-Tip on the new album. Galvanize was a huge hit here in
hmm
Israel too. Do you have a special
Yeah.
chemistry with Q-Tip?
Well, I think he's the best. He's the best MC. He's fluid. He's a cool guy. He's interested in the world. So yeah, he's definitely, there's two tracks, Galvanize and Go, are really big favourites of ours. You know, he has a power to him, and you know, wants to get something across, and it flows with the music. You know, agile.
Yeah, and in general, you said here in the interview, and you said in interviews in the past, that hip hop has been a huge influence on you guys. Does that also play into you guys working with Q-Tip?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was just, you know, like particularly Go is a kind of modern update on that kind of early disco hip hop kind of sound that we used to like in the 80s. You know, kind of Sugar Hill, Grandmaster Flash. That kind of sound, you know, like updating that sound for now. It was a very inspired choice. You know, he worked well on that track.
Another collaborator of yours is Noel Gallagher. How did the collaborations with him come about?
Well, we met him before when we lived in Manchester, and we used to see. We used to go to clubs a lot in Manchester when we were students, and there was always this guy in the clubs at the bar, and you'd see him around, and then Oasis became big, and the two of us were like, oh, it's that guy. So we felt able to say hello to him when he was, you know, in a festival, Glastonbury, and he said, oh, I'd like to do a song with you, and, you know, we were delighted. You know, we had this shared love of the Beatles, in particular the track Tomorrow Never Knows. So that was one of the kind of things that bonded us. And we had this piece of music, and we sent it to him. I mean, it doesn't sound like Tomorrow Never Knows, but you can feel a kind of kindred spirit, kind of anti-music. And he was keen to do it. So it was one of those very fortuitous, coincidental things that we kind of knew this guy, and there he was. He was in the biggest band in the world, and he was he's a cool person to work with.
And one last collaborator I want to ask you about is Michel Gondry, with whom you developed a work relationship with. How did you initially link up with him?
Well, I think we approached him for the video of Let Forever Be on Surrender, and we just enjoyed talking to him. You know, he's got a real vision. He sort of maybe like a complicated relationship with technology, you know, like see how powerful and enabling, you know, technology is, but there's something also, you know, exciting about the analog world and how we can combine the two. And that's kind of been you know, it's a very clever visual imagination he has, and it seemed, you know, very apt for our band. So we've had 3 videos made: the Star Guitar, Forever Be, and Go, and they're all very arresting and just, you know, exciting, different imagery.
What's it like being with him on the set?
Oh, we've never been. Because we don't appear in the videos. We get to avoid being on the set. But he sends us daily updates, so we know that it's all in hand.
Okay, now, you know, in all genres, but especially I think in electronic music, the trends seem to be changing rapidly. Do you guys try to keep an ear to the clubs and get a sense of what's going on?
I think, you know, when we were starting out, we spent every night in nightclubs and headbanging away, dancing, jumping up and down, and then we know what's going on. You can hear the music that's popular, but then there's something about, for us, it's important about feeling separate from that our music is at the same time part of club music and part of the general electronic music scene, but is also quite separate. You know, in that way you have your own aesthetic and you have your own sense of the music. We feel the two of us have a vision, an audio kind of vision of how we want music to sound, particularly the club music we make, and we don't want it to be too generic and too part of something. But at the same time, it has to find a place to be. So it's a kind of tension in those impulses. The short answer is probably don't spend as much time in nightclubs as we once did, but still have a good idea of what's going on.
Yeah, and your sound, I think it changed over the years too. I mean, it's
Yeah.
is it just because you can't really stick to the big beat today, or just the next logical progression, the evolution of your sound?
Yeah, I mean, you're always changing. We have a core set of sensibilities around our music, but then it has to change. It has to still be exciting to people. If we kept making the same combination of sound, then people would get pretty bored quickly. The music that excites us is the music that, is in the imaginative realm, is new and is exciting and fresh,
And what do you enjoy the most out of what's popular right now?
Well, I've been enjoying the Avalanche's new album.
Oh yeah, it's
Very
great.
Good. Really good summer music, very psychedelic and funky. There's a track called Subway on the album, which I'm listening to every day to wake up. I like the Beyond the Wizard's Sleeve album, the Errol Alcan project. It's very nice. So those two really are the things I've been listening to this summer.
And well, we have to talk about you coming to Israel and your upcoming concert. Are you excited to come play in Israel?
Yeah, really excited. Yeah, we played a very long time ago, maybe 1998. We played in Tel Aviv. Jerusalem. We DJ'd in Jerusalem, and we had a really amazing time. We loved it. It was a real voyage into the unknown for us. We didn't have much planning. We didn't really know what to expect, and we arrived, and it was just mind-blowing. It was so different. We went into the city centre of Jerusalem. We saw the old walls and artifacts, and we played, and we had a great response. So this is going to be different in Tel Aviv. I know it's more of a kind of modern city. So, for us to be able to, at this stage, how long we've been playing, to be going to places we've never been before is just wonderful. So it's really exciting. So, we're looking forward to it, and I hope a lot of people come out and share the occasion.
Was there any pressure of you to cancel or not to come by the likes of Roger Waters?
Well, no, we haven't had any pressure. No, we'll go where young people want to go and see us play. We're not involved in that.
One last question I wanted to ask you about is, can you give away your work process as to how you craft a track or an album?
The tracks really, they have a different origins. There's no set formulations. The two of us, we experiment. There's a lot of sampling records, making beats, making noises. You never really know where the start of a song or an idea comes from. It's just playing, really. They have to keep the central attitude to music is that it's play, it's creative play, and when you get too bogged down in a route, that's a difficult place to be. So, for each track, it might have started, so something like Go would have started just with that bass line and beat, that groove. That just existed as a loop for about 3 years before thinking about Q-Tip being involved, thinking about structure, thinking about the chorus part. For a long time it was just that beat and bass line, and then things get added and think about where it's going to go, and it mutates over years. But at the beginning there's a beat, and then another track it might be just a great sound, a great hit on the synthesizer, or Tom will sit down with the guitar sometimes and write little moments on the guitar, little changes, and take it from there. But they really are very different. But at the centre of it is a kind of, okay, let's just play around with sound.
Okay, great. Much thanks.
Looking forward to it.
Me too.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you for the interview.
You too. Have a good time.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers.